Okay, what is up, guys? Okay, we're gonna get into it, and it's about Oliveira. His video is about him going to Israel, but it was end up being deported because they accused him some anti-Semitic stuff, like his videos, his past videos. But I really disagree on that. I mean, I already did my research. Just gonna give you the basics and we're gonna go from here. And obviously, I'm gonna give you my opinion and the questions that he asked and try to basically give a clear thought of what I think. So, I say anti-Semitic Tyler Oliveira has no conspiracy theories. He likes to do his journalism face to face with people that, that he asks what people have to think about this issue, and that's it. Um, People have the right to speak their own minds. Using this is to control the narrative, which Tyler doesn't. I never heard him saying slur words or other than pickpocket or scammer. This was supposed to be a joke, so um, nor hearing any discrimination and violence against Jews. Supporters of BOS is a Palestinian-led international campaign that advocates anything against Israel. So I'm just going to explain this real quick, guys. It's, obviously, I had no idea what a BOS was, but sorry guys, there was there's like a little moth or something, but we're good. Economic, cultural, and academic, and war. They're the ones. BOS, anything against Israel. That's what it is, and they try to influence others boycotting Israel and encouraging others to stop buying Israel products or to participate in events linked to Israel. Pressuring corporations and major companies to stop doing business with Israel and support Israel with the government and military. Okay, and there's another thing. When I say push, I mean intimidate. When you push someone, you're or shoving them and saying, "Hey, you better not do this." You're intimidating or pushing other international government to trade or having any negotiations. So they basically saying, "Hey, you better not trade with Israel," or having any sort of talk, because they're gonna just do trade blocks and financial penalties to stop weapons and military equipment to go to Israel. And for me, Tyler has nothing to do with anti-Semitic like stuff that he posted. I mean, it's an obvious question that he's been asking about these people, and I mean, it's a good question that we need to talk about. It is the invasion of our country. Why are we having like certain locations that we have no understanding of the language? Why do we have street signs and other signs in buildings that has a different language other than English? Okay, I mean, I get it, Spanish is okay, but that's like, this is like the only, like, one of the two that we should know inside of this country is, mainly English, but there's Spanish speakers. I mean, obviously it's a good plus, because I mean, just imagine, I mean, like I already told you about my views on immigration, but yeah, I mean, this was, for me, I'm not sure it's the first time people got deported from Israel, but I could say the same thing if I ever go to Mexico. If I go to Mexico, they have every right to deport me. I mean, it's true. It sounds funny in a way because they're deporting an Hispanic with a Mexican background, but that's a thing, is that they don't care if they for whatever reason have, like, they don't like my face. It sounds silly, but if they don't like me because I did something or said something, then they obviously have every right to deport me back to America, which is, it's crazy, but that's what it is. It's absolutely insane. But I say Tyler has nothing to do with this at all. He's not trying to tell people to stop buying stuff from Israel, to stop doing business with Israel, or he's basically giving an issue of why are these people like running schools, okay, public schools, and why are they shutting them down and doing all these things that inside of our country. And he's just asking a simple question. He's not trying to interrogate with people who happen to be Jewish. And that's just my opinion on this. But so I'm gonna answer the question that he asked, and he says, why as an American are we not allowed to question my fellow Americans who happen to be Jewish now? And how our collective tax dollars are being spent on America? And is it illegal in Israel to talk about the truth? I say it depends. It really depends on who you're talking to. I guess for their government, they don't want people to have an independent thought on certain political issues, which is so weird. I've done my research. It is not a socialist or communist party, and besides Cuba, right? But I'm like, okay, if it's a capitalist party, obviously the government already knew Tyler was gonna be there. And they knew that, and they put a false narrative on Tyler, like basically saying that he's trying to immigrate in Israel, which no, you don't have to immigrate somewhere in order just to provide an opportunity for a capitalist country. And you could probably argue that maybe people who are Palestinians, they're they're there, and there's maybe there's no war going on now, but there's still a high tension between these countries, okay? And you could say, and you can, I mean, if it was me, Israel should argue that, Tyler, this is for your own safety. It's not that we have any negative feelings about you. We can't have a risk of having an American killed in our own country because of the fact that people are, journalism is, it's just been known that people who are journalism can be attacked, and we cannot have that risk in our hands. So we have to deny your entrance in our country, and that's it. But to accuse and to say that he's anti-Semitic is just, obviously, I think that's wrong in itself. So I'm gonna get the bottom of my own answer. So that's that's half of my opinion. So because they have the family back home that might suffer the consequences, or have family here that will suffer the same shame and consequence at home. So imagine you are in Tyler's video, okay, and you talk about the issues of what Jewish are going through. Jewish people are going through against their own government. Maybe they hate their own government, and they wanted to talk about certain things, but when they do, they end up having major consequence, not from the family back at home, but here in America, that we really don't know about. And that's just my theory, okay? we just don't know what these people are going through, especially if they talk about certain things and it backflashes on them. And that's just my answer. But I said there is no trick question. This is one of the most brilliant questions that you can ask. Either they're preventing people to be interviewed independently or have any word coming out to friends and enemies. And their main objective here is to try to control the narrative. They don't want to have people in their own country to have a slip up, to say something different than the government would want to put out in the media or in major news outlets. Okay, that's just my opinion though, so don't take it as a grain of salt. This is mainly my opinion. So it is very true how everything is being pushed that we never asked for in the first place. You have politicians treat our money like a slaughterhouse. They give it away freely for us to suffer the consequence. Believe it or not, both sides need to have control of the narrative. It's one of both sides that have the opportunity to make or break this country. This public the public has the right to know. That's what I said. The public has the right to know. Before politicians, well, before the public, the party that we created upon, there was no party. It was the public to decide and have the right to know about certain issues. There was no both sides. There was no Democrats and Republicans. The only thing that Republicans was formed in the first place was to stop slavery. So it's so crazy how it started, but in the beginning there was no such thing as a split opinion view. Everyone wanted to be on the same page. Everyone wanted to know the same things and the same things that's going on in this country. But we don't know exactly the full amount. For me, I think we could, it may seem like a solid number, but I love math, but maybe my math is probably wrong on this, but I think for what we know now, we don't know the full extent of what the government knows. And yes, I believe that both sides are hiding something that we don't know. And it's terrible to say, but I just wanted to put it out there. I think if I had to have the scale 0% to 100, we probably know at least, it's gonna be a high number, but I'll say 65%. 65% is that we know out of that whole percentage. Now it could be lower because of amount of information that we live. We could talk about history, but I'm talking about present history, right? You can argue that, well, Rose, we know for a fact politicians have been here point A to point B currently. So what is your argument? My argument is that basically I could give you the answers on a piece of paper that I just wrote today, but there could be other answers that we don't know right now. And it's the most basic question to answer, but the most complex answer to be given. And it's so weird to have a capitalist country, but you can't actually talk about certain issues truthfully and what you know and what you think. And no one wants to give a solid answer. At least for me, I try to give the best answer that I can possibly give, but that's it. And that's all I know. But to put this bluntly, is that no one knows exactly what the government knows. And it's so sad, but it's true. Government hides things, and it could be on the left, it could be on the right, it doesn't matter. And that's just my stance on it. And yes, you guys, if you guys came here so far, yeah, I want to say that I apologize. And what's that? Is that, I mean, it seems like every single state is a PvP, it's a PvP server, and you cannot rely on anyone. I mean, in my own state, I've seen it again and again, that my own police, and I'm talking about not just one certain district, I'm talking about all cops in my own state, has been just on a rampage of corruption. It is insane how corrupted that my state has become. And it's so crazy the amount of homeless people that I've seen in downtown Phoenix. And yes, and freaking, like, it's insane how many people there are out there in the heat, and that are just, it's so crazy. I mean, I'm not sure if I can put this out there, but I mean, I had an odd feeling that they were doing drugs in front of me and my mom, but I don't want to have any conclusions on that. But it was disgusting. It was absolutely terrifying for me to see, and to actually think, are they really doing that in front of us in broad daylight? They're doing it in broad daylight and no shame at all. And I'm like, where's the governor? Where are these cops? Like, this is insane. I mean, this is just crazy. But yeah, that's my partake on this. But we'll get into that other segment, other rant that I just had right now, and I'll tell you exactly what it is that I could not stand of seeing. And yes, both sides, I'm leaning it towards the right, but it's better to criticize your own party than to be biased for the other. That's just my stance, guys. So please, just give it a like and comment and subscribe if you agree with this. Please do. Please, it'll just give me great pleasure to even talk about more. But that's just my opinion for today. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.